Okay, good evening. It is 5:31, and I'll call our meeting of the Local Agency Formation Commission to order. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll to establish quorum and then read the meeting statements?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Members Kaplan? Here. Murphy?
Here.
Carter?
Here.
Hume?
Here.
Jones?
Here.
Desmond?
Here.
And Dr. Karpinski-Costa.
Present. Thank you.
You have a quorum with the members that are present. This meeting of the Sacramento Local Agency Formation Commission is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the Local Government Affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV U-verse cable systems. It is also live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Friday, February 7th at 2 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. The Sacramento Local Agency Formation Commission fosters public engagement during the meeting and encourages public participation, civility, and use of courteous language. The board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed towards any meeting participant. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to make a public comment and are limited to making one comment per agenda or off-agenda item. Please be mindful of the public comment procedures to avoid being interrupted or disconnected while making your comment. To make a comment in person, please fill out a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk's staff. The chairperson will open public comments for each agenda or off-agenda item and direct the clerk to call the name of each speaker. When the clerk calls your name, please come to the podium and make your comment. If a speaker is unavailable to make a comment prior to the closing of public comments, the speaker waives their request to speak, and the clerk will file the speaker request form in the record. The clerk will manage the timer and allow each speaker 2 minutes to make a comment. This concludes your announcement. Continue the announcement. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. Accommodation. If you need an accommodation pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Act or for medical or other reasons, please see clerk staff for assistance or contact the clerk's office at 916-874-5451 or by email at boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Thank you in advance for your courtesy and understanding of the meeting procedures.
Okay, thank you, Larice. And will everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here for the to kick off the first meeting of the year, and especially to welcome our newest member to LAFCo here, Supervisor Pat Hume, who's been elevated from alternate status to the actual one of the representatives for Sacramento County. So please join me in a warm round of applause for our newest Director Hume. And with that, Madam Clerk, please read the first item.
The first item was to welcome the new members and the oath of office.
Okay, so that will bring us to the oath of office. Just want to be clear, did we already have the vote for new chair and vice chair? I believe we did.
That'll be item number 2 on the agenda, Mr. Chair. Right now, the
new officers. Okay, so excuse me. So it's the only. Are we swearing everybody else in, or just?
Just Commissioners Hume and then alternate City Commissioner Jana Karpinski-Costa, who is here. Well, at the moment as the alternate, that might change, but at the moment she's the alternate city representative.
Okay. And so how do you want us to do this? Just do it from up here on the dais? And
just up there on the dais.
After me?
Yeah.
I don't think, unless you want to stand on ceremony and go down to the podium. I'm happy to do it.
I would appreciate it if you would refer to me as former chair Hume.
Former chair Hume, yes, that's right. When you were
That's
right. What am I thinking?
Member.
I'm talking about, but you're here. It's nice to have you here. It's nice to have you here in this capacity, Supervisor Hume. So I will start with administering the oath of office to Director Hume. So please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Pat Hume,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All the way down here so you don't have to move.
Oh, how about that? Well, thank you, Director Karpinski-Costa. Okay, please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jana Karpinski-Costa,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and to the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to separate that one phase, well and faithfully, and just make it stand on its own, because it's always a difficult one to do. Okay, that will bring us to our appointment of the LAFCo officers for 2025.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, your commission has a rotation schedule that's been around since 2005, in which you rotate the two officers would be the chair and vice chair. Last year, if you recall, Commissioner Kaplan served as the vice chair, so she would be rotating into the chairmanship. And then into the rotation would be the public member, which would be Chris Little. But since Commissioner Little is not here, he can't protest. So presumably, you can at that point appoint him to the vice chair.
Okay, so we can take both those in one motion? Yes. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have multiple seconds, but the motion made by Commissioner Jones, seconded first, I think, by Commissioner Liebzig. Please, would a voice vote suffice on this?
Actually, we can do,
Okay,
you may vote.
please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, now I get to swear in the new chair. No, I don't swear in the new chair. We just switch seats.
You just switch seats and nameplates.
And I'm ready to do that right now.
Thank you for your service, Chair.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Well done, Supervisor.
The gavel is yours.
Oh, and now we have to change nameplates.
Sign out. Thanks, Maurice.
I mean, unless you want to vote as if you're me. You gotta log me up. All righty, thank you, everyone. Welcome to 2025. We are, clerk, can you read the next item?
Yes, Madam Chair. Item number 3 is the public is encouraged to address the commission concerning any matter not on the agenda. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. The commission is prohibited from discussing or taking any action on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. And we do have 2 speaker requests. First, we have Kathy Lowry, I'm sorry. And Apollo.
We never miss an opportunity to let Rich know how much we appreciate his work with fireworks, huh, Paul? January 1st was a rough day for you, but not as bad as it's been in the past. Thank you for your good work. Keep it up. It's very traumatic for Apollo to experience fireworks. Also for those of us that suffer from PTSD or traumatic brain injury. It is devastating when the dog is under the bed, beating his heart so bad that we worry that he might have a heart attack and die. So we're here to say thank you, Rich, for your good work. And your staff is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thanks, Apollo.
Our next speaker we have is Kathy and Kurt Lauer.
Oh, I think that was about an agenda item. Consolidation, right?
Oh, yes, okay, we'll hold it to a consolidation.
Okay.
I can speak now if you want to.
No, we'll hold off until we get to the item. Thank you, though. Clerk, next item?
The next item is approve the meeting action summary for November 6, 2024.
Oh, consent.
Oh, the
Yep.
the entire consent calendar.
Yeah, we'll take consent. I do believe there was a,
Items 4 through 6, I believe it is.
4 through 9.
4 through 9, I apologize, 4 through 9.
And I do want to highlight that we are approving a resolution of appreciation for former Supervisor Sue Frost for her service, as well as for Councilmember Iva Walton for her service on the LAFCo committee. And I do believe that there was a minor technical amendment to the minutes as well that should be noted.
That's correct.
Okay. Any public comments?
We do not have any public comments.
Any commissioner comments? Yes, Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like the record note that I will abstain from item 4. Happy to move the consent calendar.
Moved by Supervisor Desmond.
Second.
Or Hume.
Or, sorry. I'm so used to somebody being to the left of me that it's odd.
And I probably should abstain from item 4 as well.
Which are the minutes of where they were not here. So we have,
I'll also abstain from 4.
does that still leave us with a quorum?
You do have a quorum.
Is that 4? Yeah.
4. Okay.
For anyone else, face, I'll move approval of the consent item.
Thanks, Commissioner Jones. And a second, I think I heard by Ms. Carr. All right. Vote.
You may vote. The motion passes unanimously.
Or you guys want, oh, yes, it did, with registered abstentions on item 4. And the next item, can you please read it under public hearings?
Yes, public hearing to consider and approve CEQA categorical exemption 15320 and the setting of a zero sphere of influence amendment for Del Paso Manor Water District, LAFCo project number 2022-01.
I will open this public hearing. Is there any comments or reports, updates for the board?
Madam Chair, your analyst, Christy Grabo, will be presenting this item.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we have the PowerPoint presentation pulled up, please? Maybe, okay, well, that's being pulled up. Good evening, Commissioners. My name, as mentioned, is Christy Grabo. I'm one of your policy analysts. Tonight, one of the presentations I have for you is a request of a zero sphere of influence amendment for Del Paso Manor Water District. Del Paso Manor Water District provides water services for Sacramento County's unincorporated community of Arden Arcade. The district is 672 acres in size and generally bounded by Marconi Avenue, Cottage Way, Eastern Avenue, Watt Avenue. It has approximately 1,800 residential and 100 commercial connections. A little background, but not going in total detail because I know this has quite a lengthy history. In 2021, Sacramento County Grand Jury released a report that initiated a municipal service review. It was approved by the Commission in 2022. The MSR identified infrastructure and financial concerns with the district. Then in 2024, an MSR addendum was approved that dove more into the deficiencies of the district's water flow. This document supported the Commission's approval of a resolution of intent to initiate the dissolution. and basically giving the district 12 months to address the deficiencies. Since last year, conversations with Sacramento Suburban Water District continued, and a change of board members occurred in November based on the elections, which brings us to the request tonight. The district is requesting to amend their SOI to a zero sphere and will transfer responsibility and function of the district to Sac Suburban. Currently, Sac Suburban has production and distribution teams taking charge of a 24-hour system monitoring, emergency responses, and ongoing maintenance operations at Del Paso, so kind of in the works. This request is consistent with CKH, local policies, and applicable principal acts. Speaking of policies, Sacramento LAFCo has a policy that requires an SOI not to be amended concurrently with the reorganization application. So this is part 1 of part 2. So part 2 will be coming back to you next month. So with that, staff is recommending the commission to adopt the resolution saying that this project is consistent with the California Environmental Quality Act, and for staff to file a notice of exemption, to adopt a resolution approving a zero sphere of influence, and direct the EO to complete the necessary filings and transmittals. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Just to kind of, for the next process of the hearings, I'd like to hear if we have any public testimony. And by the way, do we have any proponents or opponents of this before we go to commission questions and comments?
Not that we know of, Madam Chair, but I do have one clarification to make. In a couple places, the public notice for this item had a fat finger error. It said February 5th, 2023. However, the notice that got posted on it was published, and the notice that was up here on the chambers had the correct date of 2025. So, council and I discussed about what the next course of action is. We feel that it's pretty reasonable that people would have just saw that date and recognize it as a fat finger error, and as a result, we do recommend that we proceed with approval tonight, even though in a couple places it had the wrong date.
And general counsel concurs with this?
I do, and on one location, one posting had both dates, so it seems reasonable since it had 2025 and 2023 on the same posting that it would be reasonable on the 25th on the date. So that we've evaluated that it's appropriate to move forward with the notice that occurred.
And on this specific item, I want to look to my commissioners. Do you feel comfortable with moving forward? Any comments on this? Okay, seeing no objection, the next step, if we don't have any proponent or opponent to public comment.
And on that, you can hold the public hearing. You can always hold off on the final action and closing the public hearing. So based upon comments or the deliberation of the commission, you could determine that you wanted to continue the public hearing with it open. If for some reason during your deliberations and the comments, there's any concerns raised or any concerns of the commission. And I do believe the clerk has public comment. There aren't proponents necessarily, but there is a public comment. I do believe.
That is correct. I spoke with both general managers. They're very supportive of this. Both boards have applied to LAFCo, as you saw, as part of your commission packet, to reorganize the two districts. So as far as we know, there hasn't been any organized opposition to this. Both districts, both general managers are supportive of it.
So I'd like to call public comment.
Yes, we do have Curtin K.E. Lauer. Are you wanting them to do on this? Okay.
Lauer, can you hear me? Good. I came here tonight to tell you how disturbing the situation is at Del Paso Manor Water District. At that meeting at Mission Avenue School, when we were talking about the consolidation, I have a neighbor that stood up, an elderly neighbor, that's paying $101 for water that she won't drink because the iron pipes have not been replaced. Instead, she takes a plastic bottle and takes it to Rayleigh's to fill it up with water. That is so disturbing to me. Elderly people should not be carrying water. Water is very heavy. I have a very bad situation as well. We don't have meters in Del Paso Manor. My next door neighbor You know how he cleans his swimming pool, his above-ground swimming pool? He puts a garden hose in it and lets the water overflow onto my property. The waste in Del Paso Manor needs to stop now. The situation is so bad, we have a manager and a board. The board actually asked to give this manager an additional $50,000 severance. It's a good thing that 3 out of those 5 board members voted no. The compelling reason was that they don't want Del Paso Manor to suffer from any more financial loss.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Okay, I'm out of time.
You are.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming. Any further public comments?
Madam Chair, I don't have a card. May I speak?
Yeah, if you want to make sure afterwards you fill out the information and give it to our board clerk, come on down. Just state your name for the record.
My name is Carl Dolk, and I'm the board president of Del Paso Manor Water District, and I support these resolutions. The voters in November voted highly for candidates that wanted to combine with Sac Suburban, and I think that their voices need to be heard. I look forward to working with SSWD. They're a great organization, and I think we'll do very well under their tutelage. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making public comment. Any other further public comment?
We do not have any further public comment.
Seeing none, I will now turn it over to my commissioners. Commissioner Desmond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And first, I want to start by thanking staff for all the work you've done to get us to this point. Before I go with some additional thanks for some other folks here, either Jose or Christy, could you let me know what is the timeline going forward in terms of the consolidation and our next steps here at LAFCo and among the 2 districts?
Essentially, if you decide to adopt the SOI tonight, actually, regardless of whether you do it tonight or the next meeting, the reorganization will come to you in March. So at that point, should you approve the reorganization, the districts have 1 year to comply with any conditions of approval associated with that approval. And then once that year is done, hopefully all the conditions are met, then a certificate of filing can be completed. And then once that's filed, basically it's 5 days after that, and it's done. The target that we're going for, speaking with the general managers, is for them to comply with all conditions by the summer. So by the summer, the whole reorganization should be complete.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Jose. I just think it's important to always kind of reiterate this and outline it for a lot of folks who are affected, who want to know what the timeline is looking like. So the switch will be flipped probably in sometime in July. Also want to thank certainly fellow Commissioner Jones, who attended a public event with me, and thank you for coming here. I do remember Apollo at that meeting, but I also want to thank Carl from Del Paso Manor, and I know Jay out here from Sac Suburban. I know it's taken a lot of work to get to this point, and I'm so glad that we had good results after the election, so it didn't have to go, I think, a more hostile route, which is what we were contemplating if these districts had not come together and agree on this consolidation. So with that, Madam Chair, I'm happy to move approval of the resolutions.
And open and close the public hearing, as well as approve the resolutions. Yeah, I think I heard that. I heard an open and close. There's a motion.
I'll second open and close as well as approval of recommendation.
All right, motion and a second.
Okay, you may vote.
And I just want to echo thank you, and I know that this has been a lot of work, Commissioner Desmond, for taking the lead and working with the community on this, as well as staff.
Okay, your motion passes unanimously.
All right, moving on to the next one, which is, clerk, if you wouldn't mind reading it.
Yes, public hearing to consider and approve CEQA categorical exemption 15320 and the amendment to the sphere of influence for Sacramento Suburban Water District LAFCo project number 2023-02.
Madam Chair, your policy analyst will handle this one as well.
I got another one for you. So this request is the sphere of influence amendment for Sac Suburban Water District. And similar to the other one, here's an outline of the service map. Sac Suburban Water District provides water services to Sacramento County's unincorporated communities, again, of a portion of Arden Arcade, Carmichael, and North Highlands. The district is a lot larger in that it's 36 square miles in size and serves a population of 194,000 people. Little background behind this district is that it was formed by reorganization of two districts back in 2002 and has not had any SOI amendments to date until today. There was a municipal service review conducted and approved by the commission last year in March. At that time, there were no SOI requests, and it was determined that Sac Suburban had ample supply to meet current and future demands of water service. The district is requesting to amend their SOI to expand and annex Del Paso Manor's water district service area. Again, this request is consistent with CKH, local policies, and applicable principal acts. And staff recommends the commission to, again, adopt the resolution saying that this project is consistent with CEQA and file a notice of exemption, adopt a resolution approving the sphere of influence, and direct the EO to complete the necessary filing and transmittal. And the fourth one, ignore that one. So that's not there. So that concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd now like to open this public hearing and see if there are any public comments.
We do not have any speaker slips or anyone else in the public for public comments.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments, questions as this goes into part two? Commissioner Desmond?
I will move approval of staff recommendation.
As well as closing, I heard open and close.
Closing, it's your job,
the public
but yes,
hearing.
of course.
You're now making me the official rule maker? There was a motion and a second from Commissioner Hume. We can now vote.
You may vote. Your motion passes unanimously.
Thank you again to staff for all of this. Now moving on to our business items part two, number 12, item 12.
Item 12 is approved contract with RSG for the preparation of a municipal service review and sphere of influence study for Florin County Water District LAFCo Project 2024-02.
Madam Chair, your policy analyst will handle this one.
Ms. Graybo, you got a lot of work tonight.
Here we go. Earning my keep right now. So good evening again. So this item is another water district for you. I do not have a presentation as it's just need to get your approval on it. But in June of last year, there was another grand jury report for a water district. It's the Florin County Water. And LAFCo was recommended to conduct a municipal service review for that district. And as there's not been a MSR conducted for that district also, we need to do one. LAFCO staff released a request for proposal at the end of the summer for a consultant team to write that document. We had a couple submittals, but RSG submitted a competitive proposal and just demonstrated that the firm has experience, skills, resources, and an understanding of the scope of work needing to complete an MSR to the commission's satisfaction. The firm has experience working with LAFCO statewide and has prepared numerous types of MSRs. They are partnering with a gentleman, Tom Kennedy, who is a subject matter expert to evaluate and inform the technical aspects of the district. The time frame for this project will be 5 to 6 months with a deadline of completion in August of this year. The cost of the project will be $73,920. This is before you tonight because of a purchasing policy that we have, and it says anything that exceeds $10,000 requires your approval. So staff recommends that the commission approve the contract and authorize the chair to sign the final agreement.
Thank you for that information. Anybody have any questions, comments? I will just say thank you. The grand jury is busy, but I'm glad we have the opportunity to do this, as well as never having had an MSR done for Florin Water District. I think it's timely. Might be having some of these same discussions that we've just have. So I want to appreciate staff's time on this. And then just one question is the amount for the contract, does that tend to be in the norm of what MSRs for this type cost?
Yes, no. The cost always varies significantly. We've had a tremendous run of having relatively inexpensive MSRs being done lately. It just ended. But 75,000, well, it's high based on relatively recent experience. It's not really necessarily out of the norm. And we just concluded an MSR for Sacramento Fire, and the prices are different. They're higher. So it's, to me, 75 for a district in which we know nothing about, and it has a lot of governance problems associated with. I think it's pretty reasonable because consultants are going to have to dig a lot. We don't know anything about the state of their infrastructure. We don't know if they have any equipment failures, or the state of their equipment, I should say. Not that we're presuming that there are any failures, but we know nothing about their equipment. We don't know nothing about the infrastructure, and we know nothing about their finances. So there's going to be a lot of digging that's going to be happening, and I think 75,000 is pretty reasonable. I am excited about RSG partnering with Mr. Kennedy. He's pretty well known in the water industry, mostly in Southern California, but he's a pretty solid person to be the one who's going to be evaluating the infrastructure.
Thank you so much. And of course, my question popped up another one. Commissioner Karpinski-Costa?
I had a question. Is this the only response we had to the RFP? Was he the only guy? Because I thought our policy is 2.
No, we did receive another another.
Did I miss? Okay, I'm going to miss it.
Yeah, another response, but we felt more comfortable with RSG's.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other questions, comments, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I would happily move this item.
Approve the contract by Commissioner Hume.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Carter. Yes?
Sure. Yeah.
You can vote.
You may vote. Your motion passes unanimously.
All right, moving on to business item 13.
Madam Chair, item 13 is consider supporting legislative effort to address underperforming water systems in disadvantaged areas.
All right.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this started off as an academic exercise by UC Berkeley. I need to find out what prompted the question, but essentially started writing a study on why water consolidations were not happening in the state, or why they weren't as frequent. If you may or may not recall that back in 2015, there was a question that actually was posed by the Little Hoover Commission, in which LAFCos were getting beaten over the head, that LAFCos were not approving or consolidating water systems fast enough. We indicated that there were structural issues in the law that prevented LAFCos from taking a lot of actions. Ultimately, that resulted in a policy group formed by LAFCo, the California Association of LAFCos, and CSDA, the California Special District Association, as well as our partners in the League of California Cities and the California State Association of Counties. And that resulted in Bill SB 938, which I was a part of in negotiating those provisions, and that would allow us to do Del Paso Manor from last year. And so Dr. Kristen Robin did a paper, and frankly, unless you live LAFCO, you really don't know LAFCO, and the report reflected it. I was part of the people that responded back with a lot of technical corrections. To her credit, she took that all in. She did additional interviews, and then she also compiled a working group to kind of really study the issue, and that resulted in a much superior study. And in talking with our partners around the state, and in talking with a lot of advocacy groups, we felt that there were some real good proposals here. And eventually we coalesced around the 3 points that were outlined in the second page of your staff report. The first flaw is that LAFCOs cannot initiate annexations. LAFCOs can initiate consolidations, LAFCOs can initiate formations, and they can initiate dissolutions. But in the case of, like in Del Paso Manor, you could take action to dissolve, but then we have to ask, pretty please with a cherry on top, for some district to take it. And if they chose not to do it, then we're kind of stuck in the water, and that prevents addressing troubled water systems. To their credit, Sacramento Suburban stepped up. I know they were not crazy about it, but they understood the larger policy and governmental issue at hand, and they were willing partners with us on addressing El Paso Manor. But around the state, that's not necessarily the case. So the first thing that's part of this initiative is basically empowering LAFCos to initiate annexations under certain circumstances, and that would be to address troubled water systems. So we believe we have a good handle and a good level of support on that piece. The second piece was basically amplifying the MSR role. The commission creates MSRs, and they're brought to public public knowledge through the website, through the adoption, through public hearings. The thing is that the districts are not compelled to actually actively address some of the findings in the MSR. So we do invite comment, but a district that's hostile to an MSR might not provide any comment at all. And so then at that point, you only hear one side of the story. The amplification of the MSR role under this proposal is basically it would compel a district that if there's an MSR that's written about it, they need to address it, just like a grand jury. When a grand jury report comes out, they have to address those issues. So that would be the second piece to the proposal. And the third piece is essentially addressing service barriers for mutual water companies and mobile home parks. And what we're finding is basically these types of organizations are private. LAFCo has no jurisdiction over them. So the idea was let's try to bring them into the MSR fold so that we can study them even if LAFCo has no direct jurisdiction over them. Of the three, the two that really seem to have legs in terms of getting buy-off from a lot of groups are the first two. The third one is proving to be problematic from a legal standpoint. We may need to address that in the future, but at the very least, we know that the first two we can run with. So the ask from staff is essentially that you support the efforts, that we're able to submit letters of support with our letterhead to indicate the Sacramento LAFCo is supportive of these legislative efforts. This group essentially has brought in advocates for disadvantaged communities into the fold. They're willing to run with it. And they're willing to gather allies in the legislature and garner support from other groups. We just need to indicate that basically that we would be supportive if this ends up being legislation. They believe that they have one or two legislators who are willing to be the sponsors of the bills through the legislature. And we think that something good can come out of it. So the ask is to essentially direct staff to continue with these efforts, being able to provide support when needed. Should the legislation ever change beyond the parameters that we outline here, I'll bring it back to you for your review and reconsideration of the support. But for now, as it stands, I think this is good. This is good public policy. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have on this.
All right. First, any public comments in this?
We do not have any public comment.
All right. Turning it over to commissioners. Commissioner Hume.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Regardless of being good public policy, have we done an analysis as to far as the existence of or how many potential water systems in disadvantaged areas might be under the purview of Sacramento LAFCo?
You're talking about private organizations?
No, I'm talking about the ones that we would actually be able to affect change, right? Because what I heard you say is for the private organizations, LAFCO has no jurisdiction and this legislation wouldn't change that.
That's correct.
So have we done any analysis of how many water systems exist that Sacramento LAFCO does have jurisdiction over?
There are about 20 water providers here in Sacramento County. We have 2 that are actually provided by the city. Everything else is by special district. The private water companies, because we have not studied them, they're kind of a black box to us at the moment. But for the most part, because we have no jurisdiction over them, we haven't had any compelling reason to be asking them for information. So at the moment, they are unknowns to us. Of the other water systems, basically as issues pop up on the MSR, this would be a collaborative effort. I mean, even if LAFCo gains all these additional authorities, this would be a collaborative effort with the district. So if we do find that there's a district that's in trouble, like the aforementioned Del Paso Water District, we wouldn't be going in like Godzilla goes to Tokyo. We would basically be going, talking to them, encouraging them to take certain matters. Only if things get pressed would LAFCO take an extraordinary action that would be viewed as hostile. But for the most part, we'd be doing it in a collaborative approach. So the answer to your question is we don't know. We don't know yet.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Hume. Commissioner Murphy?
Okay, so Jose, you said that the third item has legal issues and would not be part of the legislation. So I presume that means that the letter you're asking us to authorize would not have an endorsement of item 3.
Well, I think in concept, I would ask for your support for item 3. The problem is that because these mutual water systems and these mobile home water parks or mobile home park water systems, they're in the corporation's code. They're the subject of the CPUC. And so it isn't that it's legally problematic. It's more along the lines of how do you take something that's in the corporation code under the CPUC jurisdiction, and you have LAFCOs that are in the government code. How do you bridge that gap? And so it isn't because it's controversial. It's just that we're having a difficult time of how to be able to reconcile that.
So does the potential legislation create the fix with which code this would fall under so they can make that change?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Desmond?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So on the first part relating to the annexation, this is certainly not outside the realm of possibility that we could be confronted with that kind of situation. I remember in the discussion with Del Paso Manor, at one point, we were worried that Sac Suburban would lose interest in this, and the default may have ultimately ended up becoming Sacramento County Water Agency taking over because there would be no one else. How would it change that in that scenario?
We could essentially be like the bad guys, and if Sac Suburban decides that they're going to step away, but we determine that Sac Suburban is the best provider,
we could force them to take it. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
It would also be, subject to the same type of rigorous justification as we did for the dissolution of Del Paso Manor without notice. You have to build up a case. But like I said earlier to Commissioner Hume's question, we would only take that step if really we're just back up against the wall and there's no other options available.
Right, that's the last option. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Karpinski-Koska.
Thank you, Chair. I'm new, and I apologize for asking again a question that I'm sure you all know the answer to. Municipal Services Review, is that a document that agencies publish on their website for public review, or is that a secret document?
It's secret to their constituents because there's nothing that compels them to put it on the website.
Is it on ours?
It is on ours.
So LAFCo does put it on the
Yes.
website for people to, okay.
Yeah, so when it's being considered by, so the process typically is we work with the district to, and this is probably more information than you want, but
Never more information.
we work with the district essentially to create the document, either us or via consultant. A document is created, it becomes basically an administrative draft in which the district gets to review and provide comments to. Okay. Once it's in the shape in which both agencies are comfortable with publishing, then it comes to the commission and it becomes a public document. And typically it's a two-step process. It's brought to the commission to open the public comment period. And then we give the public a certain amount of time for them to review and comment. And then it's brought back for adoption with incorporating any comments that were received. So so it shows up on the website as an item that's on the commission agenda. Once it's adopted, then it goes to a different page in our website that has a municipal service review for that district. So it lives on there. The missing piece is, which is the second component to this proposal, is that the district would have to put it on their website. They would have to address the findings or determinations in that MSR and they would have to provide comment and elevate it so that they have essentially the public has another opportunity to read these
So
reports.
it's more of an issue of transparency and public awareness of
Correct.
what they're paying for.
Correct.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seeing no other questions, do I have a motion to support these efforts?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Desmond. Second by Commissioner Jones. I know I don't want to say people's first name. I'm trying to be the official. Vote? It's not good when I know all of y'all and I don't call you by your last names.
Madam Chair, your motion passes unanimously.
I'm still getting used to it. It's been 3 years.
All right, now move on to item 14.
Item 14 is receive update from General Counsel on the Sacramento County reclassification of the LAFCo Executive Officer, make appointment to Commission Personnel Ad Hoc Committee, and provide direction.
Hi, Deanne Gillick, General Counsel for the Commission. As the Commission may recall, and we have a couple new members, I've been providing updates on the current status of the classification efforts with the county. As you know, the employees of the Commission, through an agreement between the Commission and the county, are county employees. The current effort is to evaluate and approve a reclassification for the executive officer. And I'm happy to report in December, the County Civil Service Commission approved the new job description. I was informed this week that the county is provided notice to the union and there's no objection, and the position is moving forward as an unrepresented position. And that the county staff has completed the salary review, and it's under management review within the Department of DPS, and is anticipated that they'll have that ready to go to the Board of Supervisors for approval of the new job classification at the March 11th board meeting. So I anticipate in March I can bring back to this commission an update on what that classification study is. So I'm happy to report that update on the reclassification for the executive officer position. In addition, as you recall, we appointed an ad hoc committee of the commission members to assist in this effort and the information on the staff report. Due to the change in the commission members, we wanted to bring this back for your consideration of potential appointment for new members. We currently have Commissioner Jones and Desmond serving on that committee, and if there's desire to add an additional committee member, we wanted to allow you to have that opportunity to do that tonight.
I was told that there is one position, and our executive director did let me know that is generally the chair comes on, but I will look to Commissioner Desmond, since he's been taking the lead on this, if it's his will to allow me to join the Personnel Ad Hoc Committee.
Well, of course, I'd be delighted. Yes.
That's
Rochambeau.
how nose goes. Yeah,
Rochambeau. No.
You need another committee, Pat.
Yeah, like I need another hole in it.
Like I need one, but I've been voluntold that, and I'd be happy to join because it appears that Commissioner Desmond has done all the hard work that we may not need to meet anymore.
That's not true, but I do nominate our chair to round out the committee.
Second. All in favor?
Commissioner Desmond, Commissioner Jones.
Desmond.
So I think we have a motion from Chair Kaplan for, or was it a motion from?
It was making a statement, but the actual motion was Commissioner Desmond.
There you go. To add Chair Kaplan to the committee with Commissioners Jones and Desmond.
Correct.
Yes.
To clarify the record over our cackles.
You may vote. Now your motion passes unanimously.
I watched Commissioner Hume press no first.
That was a fat finger. I think is
That's an exciting, positive update. That's the most positive update we've had on this thing in a long time. win.
It is a win. All right. Item 15.
Madam Chair, item 15 is consider the LAFCo conference October 22nd through 25th, 2025 in San Diego.
Madam Chair, I'm in the process of starting to craft the budget for next fiscal year, and in that it includes the cost of commissioners attending. Given the venue, I wanted to bring it up to you so that if you were interested in going, please let me know so that I can build that into the budget. San Diego, as you know, is a beautiful city, and but there are costs associated with it, and so I need to make sure that I take all of that into account. So you don't have to make a decision tonight, but please email me by the end of the week if possible, whether it's a yes or a no, and then I'll build it in. It doesn't necessarily commit you to it. It just means that I just take those costs into account into the budget just in case.
And more importantly, the LAFCo conference is always a good event for, LAFCo geeks like all of us, staff and the commissioners to come and discuss those LAFCO issues learn something, discuss those statewide concerns. So it does prove to be a good conference. And as you may or may not know, I believe Commissioner Jones is currently the chair of the LAFCo organization.
So it'd be supporting Commissioner Jones as well as our executive director who has taken on more leadership in the organization as well if we were to go down, be it for learning as well as moral support. Yes, Commissioner Desmond.
And I would say, I went last year the first time I went. It is an amazing experience. You're around a lot of policy wonks, that's for sure. And I was kind of set up, though, actually, when I went down there. I mean, we know that, Commissioner. But just to be clear, but it was a great experience. I mean, I'd be interested in attending again, but thank you for bringing this to us, because it is a great venue, but it's also a great event to learn all there is to know about LAFCo.
All right. Well, everybody can follow up with our executive director on any statements, concerns, questions, interests that they have. Now moving on to questions and announcements. Item 16.
Madam Chair, your policy analyst will talk about the Astro sheet in a sec, but just provide an update. It's okay. I do have a couple of things to bring to your attention. First and foremost, you may notice that your policy analyst, Desiree Fox, is not here, and that's because she's on maternity leave. She had a beautiful baby girl, January 2nd, right? I'm sorry? January 2nd? 3rd. And I have not seen her. I've only seen pictures of her. Your policy analyst, Graybo, has, and reports that she's a very lovely girl. She'll be back in May. So she left us at a great time when workload is increasing. And Desiree, if you're watching this, thank you. Second thing, and this is an announcement, it should not interfere with my regular duties, but the California Association of LAFCOs has named me, or is about to ratify this on Friday, interim executive director for the association. The previous executive director has left, and I'm there to essentially bridge the gap between Executive Director LaRoche and former Executive Director LaRoche and the new person who's going to be recruited. Not soon enough for my taste, but it is what it is. So a lot of evenings and weekends will be sacrificed, but it should not interfere with regular business hours. And of course, as always, you can reach me whenever you have a question or concern. But that's what I'll be doing on all of my remaining free time from here until, I don't know, August or October. Ms. Graybo can give you an update on the Astro sheet.
I have it in front of me. Is there anything new or interesting we need to be updated about on the Astro sheet?
I'm sorry? So we do have, in March, we're planning the reorganization application to come through, and that's moving forward, and that was the Desiree project, but I'm doing it, so it's great. Other than that, we do have some new applications that have been submitted. It's not on the Astro sheet now, but they just submitted in the last week or two of an MSR and a annexation for Sac Sewer. So other than that, everything's moving along like normal, and I know what to add to that, so I apologize.
It is quite all right. You are a significant person down, and your executive director has taken on a new load to make sure that the LAFCo can thrive in its new iteration. Commissioner Jones, it's a lot of work, so no apologies needed. It is quite all right. We can read, and I know my fellow commissioners know how to do their homework, and they can get a hold of staff if they have any questions or concerns.
Yeah, really quick, if I can, just looking at this list, we did do a request for proposal for the Metro Fire, as Jose mentioned earlier. We did get 2 applications that did come in, or proposals, and they both look really great, and we're excited to kick that project off. So that's one that's coming down the pipeline that is going to be keeping us busy as well. So.
And then I will just, I will save it for next, but do we have any other further correspondence we need to know about?
No, not that has come to our attention.
All right, then moving on to item 17, Commission Chair and Commissioner statements items. I will just let everybody know, because I've been very public about this, I had requested an opinion from the Fair Political Practices Commission as it relates to the LAFCo and Sphere of Influence Amendment related to Airport South. I am, as I predicted, completely out. I have the pleasure of living too close to where this is, so when the time comes with the Sphere of Influence, I will probably have my alternate here, but I can have no opinion statement, anything to have to do with this. And my alternate, which is newly elected City Council Member Phil Pluckybaum, is getting up to speed now, and I have full trust in the work that he does. But any other commissioners' statements, comments? All right, with that, I call the meeting adjourned at 6:27. Thank you so much.